Today we're going to talk about writing linear equations from a table. Here are a couple of formulas that you'll need, and here are the steps, and we'll probably put this in your digital notebook to kind of help you out later. But let's go and get to it. So now that you have this equation here, I'm asking you, the goal here is to write a linear equation from a table. That's to use this formula right here. And the way you're going to start this is you're going to start it by determining the slope using the slope formula. So you can pick any 2 points. I'm just going to pick this one as 0.1 and that one as 0.2. We're going to go ahead and set this up. Remember, it's the change in y over the change of x. So the change of y, that's -6 minus 0, that's these two, and then 4 minus 2. You end up with -6 over 2, which gives you a slope of -3. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and write that down here so that it's nice and handy for me whenever I get to the end spot and need to plug in my values. All right, the second part deals with determining the y-intercept. That's the b in my equation here. Now, you basically have two options here. If you have a zero as an x value, then you're done. Then you already know what b is. So looking at our x values, that's everything in this row. There's my 0, and boom, you've got your y-intercept. So right off the bat, you can go ahead and put your y-intercept right there. That's a +6. And now you can skip this part and just go straight to the bottom, where you insert the actual slope that you came up with into the equation. Here you have your -3 for your slope and your +6 for your y-intercept. All right, so real quick, a recap. First thing we did, we selected 2 points to determine our slope. We then used the slope formula and determined the slope. Proceeded to, how do we get the y-intercept? First, we check to see if we have any zeros. If we do, we're done. There you go. Always check your work. All right, here's the next problem. Now, please be aware that when you're watching these videos, the goal is that you understand how to do this by the end of the video. So I want you to take a moment, pause the video, and try to solve this now. All right, so first step, determine the slope by using a set of ordered pairs. And again, I'm just going to pick the ones on the end because they're the ones on the end. So my y's would be what, -5 minus a -3 over my x's, which would be 14 minus 7. Here's a double negative. Be wary of those. That becomes a positive. So -5 plus 3 is -2. 14 minus 7 is 7. So there is my slope, -2/7. So now we're going to determine the y-intercept. Again, we're going to see if we can get away with this. Is there a 0 as an x value? Going down this row, boom, there is, and boom, there is your y-intercept. So really nice, really quick when that happens. I can tell you on the next example, we'll be dealing with this one right here. So once you plug in your slope and your y-intercept, you end up with y equals -2/7 x minus 1. Once again, just kind of go back and check. The recap here, we found our slope using the slope formula to be -2/7. Now I know some of you do a little bit different option where you kind of just look at, well, what's the difference? How did it go from here to here? And yeah, you saw that it goes up +7. Or you looked here and you said from -3 to -5, you subtract 2. And if you do the change of y over the change of x, you end up with -2/7. Check. All right, to the last one. For the most part, you should still be able to find the slope, but this is one that's going to focus on the other y's option. So go ahead and pause the video and find the slope. All right, so again, you can just pick any 2 points, or you can do that other method. Either one's fine. I'll pick these two. Oh, wait, that's a big number. I'll do these two then. So the difference between the y's, that's negative 54 minus negative 30, all over these guys, which would be 11 minus 7. Double negative, watch out for those. Negative 54 plus 30 is a negative 24. 11 minus 7, well, that's a positive 4. So negative 24 divided by 4, well, that gives you a slope of 6. Actually, negative 6. So there you go. Negative 6 is your slope. Now we got to find if you look, I mean, you should always look. If you look, you don't see any zeros going down this way. So you got to go through here and make sure you've got zeros. I'll clean it up a little. If you don't, then you're going to have to go to this plan B, this otherwise option here. And that says you have to insert known values y, m, and b. Okay, so where am I getting this y from in the x, these values here? Use any ordered pair from the table. And I'm going to use these two because they're the smallest. All right, so my y value is negative 30. My x value, my slope, we got it right here. It's negative 6 times my x value, which is 7, equals, not equals, I'm sorry, right? That's just plus b. All right, so we use the x and y, we use the slope that we found earlier, and now it's just a matter of what we did, I think, the 3rd week of school, where we were solving for a variable, maybe 4th week. So here we go, negative 30, right, that is a negative 30, equals negative 6 times negative 7, that'd be a negative 42 plus b. All right, go ahead and add 42 to both sides. You end up zeroing out, and this is 12. Whoops, 12 equals b. So now, hey, you got your b, it's a positive, you plug in your values. So there you go, you end up with y equals negative 6x plus 12 after you do the final step of inserting your values. Now, some kids want to know, hey, am I right or am I wrong? There is a way you can check. You can actually put in these values, any pair of the values. I'm just going to stick with those, and you just plug it in and see if it works. It should be an equal relationship. So actually, let me do one that I didn't do. Let's do this one here. So y value of 108, negative 108, does that equal negative 6 times 20 plus 12? Let's see, nothing happens on the left side. Negative 6 times 20 is negative 120 plus 12. Add those two together, you end up with a negative 108. Hey, check that out. It does work, and it would work with any of the ones right there. So the recap. With this problem, we went and checked our slope using the slope intercept. Using the slope formula. We got negative 6. And then we had to, because there was no zero sitting in this table, we had to go through and do this otherwise option. Plugging in a y value, which was from here, our slope, which is from up there, our x value from there, and then we solved for b, and we got 12 for b, and then we just plugged in our values. We did a little extra step, checking ourselves, because some of you want to know right away if you're right or wrong. You don't have to wait for the computer to tell you. You can check yourself. Yeah, that's a lot of yourselves. Well, have yourself a good evening.